The Florida Gators signed the on-3 number one QB in the 2024 cycle, DJ Lagway. Now it's time to surround him with some elite wide receiver talent, and UF is wasting no time getting five-star wide receiver Caleb Cunningham on campus. We're going to talk about him with Keith Niebuhr from Gators Online. Also, 2025 QB recruiting is heating up. We want to hit on that as well. But first, UF fans, do me a favor and hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We're growing this thing. We need you Gator fans to be a part of it. All right, let's bring on Keith Niebuhr of Gators Online. And Keith, we're going to talk five-star wide receiver Caleb Cunningham here in a minute, but I want to talk a little quarterback talk first. And I'm going to ask you about Ryan Montgomery, four-star quarterback out of Findlay, Ohio. He's been to UF, and recently Chad Simmons is reporting that a decision could come within the next month. So wanted to know, what's your read on his recruitment right now?
Yeah, it feels like it's down to really two teams. I mean, he's got the three that he's mentioning, Florida, South Carolina, and Georgia. But anybody that's following recruiting closely knows that Georgia's also working on trying to flip Juju Smith from Southern California. He's from the state of Georgia. So the question is, if you're Georgia, do you ride that out? How long are you willing to wait for him? Would you take Montgomery now? When you add it all up, it just feels like that based on Montgomery's timeline of wanting to commit maybe in the next month or two, that probably favors Florida and South Carolina. So don't really know about the South Carolina side that much, but I feel like there's some optimism in Gainesville. He visited this past weekend, had another outstanding visit. Yeah. He likes it down there. He connects well with the staff, not only with Billy Napier, but with Ryan O'Hara, who is an offensive analyst, but for all intents and purposes is the quarterback coach at Florida. They get along great. They like the development of the quarterbacks. Well, I like the whole situation. And like you said, he's been down there multiple times, but it feels like it's really a toss-up at this time between Florida and South Carolina. Probably could go either way. Don't have definitively one way or that he's leaning one way or the other, Josh. I don't. Others might, but I don't.
All right. Now, another name that's been on campus a number of times is Antoine Hill Jr. out of Warner Robins, Georgia. Yeah. Number 7 quarterback in the country, number 76 overall. So he's a top 100 player. Do you think that UF is in good shape with Hill? What do you think?
Yeah, it really depends. So there's some unknown variables, obviously, Josh. Who's number 1 on the board, on the floor board? We don't really know. That's kind of information they don't want to get out there. Yeah, obviously last year you knew DJ Lagway was number 1 on the recruiting board, but now it's a little bit more. There's some nuance to it. In other words, if it gets out that one guy's the top guy, it might rub the other guys the wrong way. We don't know. So, but we know that Antoine Hill's certainly in that group of 3 or 4 top guys that Florida's looking at. I think Ryan Montgomery's probably a little bit more polished right now. Right. Upside wise, you got to like Antoine Hill's upside. I mean, he's tall, he's rangy. He told me, he said when he visited Florida, he said, I even look like DJ Lagway. He says, I play like him and I look like him. So he's a guy that also can run the ball. By the way, Ryan Montgomery's a terrific athlete too, who shines in basketball. So another good athlete. The question is now, again, where would Florida sit with him? We think if Florida put the foot on the gas with Antoine Hill, we think they'd have a real shot. We know Georgia Tech's highly involved. He's a former Colorado commit. We know that Texas A&M's involved. Georgia visited his school recently. Again, he's probably a down-the-line guy, we think, for them. But he's an outstanding prospect, too. But, again, I think he's more of a long-term projection. But, again, you've got Graham Mertz this year. He'll be going away. But then you have DJ Lagway. So if DJ Lagway starts a couple of years, you don't need anybody to play for a couple of years anyway. So it's really Florida could take a developmental guy this side. Personally, I think they're going to have a good shot to get one of these two guys, Hill or Montgomery, Josh. I don't know which one, but I feel comfortable in saying they've got a pretty good shot to get one of them.
All right. Now, the most recent offer went out to Matt Zollers. He's out of Pennsylvania, the number 14 ranked quarterback in America. Has he been to campus yet?
He has, but, he put out this top 4 and Florida wasn't in it. He's got Georgia's on him hard as well. We think that, he's high up the Georgia board. Obviously that Juju Smith thing is significant, but Penn State, he visited there recently. He's high on their board and vice versa. He has a brother, I believe, that's a player at Pitt. We think Florida is probably on the outside looking in with him, but he did visit.
Right. Okay. Seems like Montgomery and Hill probably, like you said, the top 2 most likely right now to end up in the class. All right. So, like you said, DJ Lagway already on board. He's the star quarterback. He's everything for that offense moving forward. So you got to get him some pieces. You got to get him some weapons. And 5-star wide receiver Caleb Cunningham was in Gainesville recently. He's the number 2 ranked wide receiver in the country. The number 1 ranked wide receiver, DeCorian Moore, already committed to LSU. So he's the top available wide receiver. He's from Mississippi. Keith, what did he say to you when he left campus? What was his reaction to the UF visit?
Yeah, he had a great visit to Gainesville the other day, and it wasn't his first time there, Josh. He'd been there for a camp. He'd been there previously for a game. You know, it's funny. I said, is the distance an issue for him? And he said, I've got a 10-hour window. He'll drive within 10 hours. And actually, Josh, for work, that's what I have. I'll go within 10 hours. After that, I'm done. And so I looked it up, and he's about 9 hours and 40 minutes from Gainesville. So it's within that 10-hour, circumference, I guess. But he's also, within 30 minutes of Mississippi State, and he's closer to other schools. But he had a great visit to Gainesville. He likes the fact that they have DJ Lagway there. And obviously DJ Lagway, you would think in 2025 probably would be Florida's starting quarterback when Caleb Cunningham, if he picked Florida, would get there. He's got Florida in his top 12. He likes the receivers coach. He likes that Billy Gonzalez, Florida's receivers coach, has been so productive as a coach in terms of recruiting and then developing guys and getting them off to the NFL. Billy Gonzalez has a heck of a track record just at the University of Florida, let alone other places. So he likes all of that. Florida's in his top 12. He says he's going to officially visit down the road. Hey, man, I'm not in any hurry to make a commitment, he told me. Look, they're doing all they can do. He likes Florida a lot. They like him a lot. He's an outstanding young guy to talk to. He's bonding with people in Gainesville. But we have heard through the grind that while he says, Josh, hey, within 10 hours, I'm cool, we've heard that some people around him may want him a little bit closer to home. And so that's going to be an uphill climb for Florida. But look, they're in the ballgame.
Yeah. And next step is to get him back on campus. Do you think Caleb Cunningham will make a return trip to Gainesville?
I do. I mean, first of all, he's been there multiple times. So it's not like he's been there once and he says, I'm coming back. Yeah, we hear that all the time. Right. And you never see the kid. So he's got a history of going there. And, he says, hey, look, I think they're in a good position to get an official visit. And, obviously you can take more official visits now than you used to be able to take. So that helps as well. And he seems like a guy that's going to really do his homework, take a lot of trips here, really get the lay of the land. So I do think, best guess, is he'll be back in Gainesville at some point.
All right. Well, really good start with QB recruiting and their shot at the number 2 wide receiver in America. Keith Niebuhr with Gators Online. Thanks for dropping by today on the Inside Scoop.
Thanks, Josh. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.